Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime series Hibike Euphonium. And this episode was a perfect example of not having even the slightest inkling of where they were going to go with this particular story. And it seemed almost from the get-go like something was afoul with Kumiko. Like, was she going to end up dying? Was she going to end up getting pushed out of this band competition, building up to the Kantai competition? Because she could not play a particular piece in the set that they're all practicing as the ensemble for the competition itself. And she's singled out time and time again. She ends up going and practicing off by herself to the point where her nose starts bleeding and, you know, she's feeling faint. We see her eyes getting blurry at certain points. And, of course, you know, with the way anime sometimes rolls out, those tropes, it was like, okay, what, is she going to die or something before she can have a chance to play? No, it was actually just extreme heat exhaustion and the fact that she was pushing herself. She hadn't been drinking the water, and her friends around her realize that and start giving her bottles. Even, you know, Kosaka does this at one point. She's got to keep that fluid intake up and keep her strength up. Her body, you know, cannot handle the heat, and as well as also the exertion of having to, you know, blow constantly into this instrument, this euphonium, and just keep up with especially that piece. As she says, there's so much to do with the rhythm and having to keep beat after beat after beat in such a small amount of time. It's really taking its toll on her. And I love how the sort of cornerstone of this entire episode is now finally Kumiko has an understanding of where we found Kosaka at the very start of the series, as far as how important playing was to her and how important being the best she could be was to her. And there's that awakening we had a couple episodes back where, you know, basically Kosaka lets Kumiko know she wants to be special. She wants to shoot for the stars and everything like that. I like how Midori is constantly championing Kumiko's own reaching now for the moon. And they comment on the fact that, you know, the evolution of the character of Kumiko, she was very much like, what the hell, I don't care, at the start of the series. And through the course of the series, she has found something to care about. Time and again, she's found multiple things to care about, from her friendship and relationship with Kosaka to the other girls, Midori and Hoozuki, respectively, as well as this band ensemble. But more importantly, she has, and I think, you know, she has only just now confronted the realization of how much she enjoys the euphonium and loves playing the euphonium. She loves it. She didn't even realize, I mean, she knew she cared about it. She was having that burgeoning awareness of how important it was to her. But until now, until right in this episode, she didn't understand. I love this. It's so important to me. And she's really weighing the concerns of characters like Aoi, who we see showing up in this episode again, who walked away from this because her future was important to her, and she thought she had to lay her sights elsewhere in order for that importance to have any flavor, to, you know, have any impact on her life. And the same can be said for Kumiko's own sister, who played the euphonium, I guess, before her, and she gave it up eventually because she had to think about university, going to college. And these are things that are ever present in Kumiko's mind. She is weighing them. It's not like she's ignoring them or casting them aside, but she has much greater an importance and want to be a part of this band and to play the euphonium. And to see her breaking down and just screaming, I want to improve, I want to be the best I can be, and this coincides with Shuichi, and they're both, you know, chanting this across the bridge to each other. I just thought that was a really poignant moment, because then she has that self-reflection of calling back on where we met Kosaka in the beginning, and that divide that was set between them from those opening moments of the series, because that's exactly how Kosaka felt. And she, you know, just sort of crushed under the weight of the failure that opened the series. And now they're all shooting for the nationals. They're all shooting for the gold. You know, I think the big competition, this Kansai competition, is actually how we're going to probably round out the series, and maybe we'll get another season at some point. I don't know. I don't know if this competition is where they can achieve gold, if they do well enough or not. That is to say, but the point being, even if they fail, I mean, of course it is going to crush them probably and make them really upset and everything, because there are still aspects, as we see with Taki Sensei, he's very much uber the perfectionist. Anyone who is just even slightly falling behind or not playing well enough, he calls them out, and he has, he's one of these kinds of conductors who can hear as the ensemble is playing. He can pinpoint with his own hearing certain sections that play and everything like that, and he'll say stop, he'll stop the entire production, and then he'll focus on those elements and try to get them to play again, and almost as if to confirm that he was hearing correctly, that somebody's not carrying along the melody or whatever it is, and he'll tell them what his problem is with their playing and how they need to perfect it, and they only have so much time or whatever it is. And that's another aspect of this episode I really liked, was that because Kumiko forgot her phone when she was leaving her euphonium behind in the school, she goes back after hours, and there's Taki Sensei, and they kind of have a moment, not in any romantic sense. They just have a moment of realization, or at least Kumiko does, in that she's talking to him about how his father, he basically took on the job that his father once had, and he had no desire to do it, but he followed his heart. He followed what really mattered to him and what he would really enjoy. And this is kind of like the confidence boost that Kumiko needs, because she realizes it really is about following your heart, enjoying what you do. You can throw your all into something, but if you're not enjoying it, if it's not about something that speaks to you, you're only going to get so far with it. And she wants to, be skyborn, basically. She wants to reach for the moon, as Midori says. And she has been doing so more than she ever has in her life, and that's really the realization she has with the words spoken between them. And I like how she calls Kasaka, and it calls back on those little Gashapon figurines. She finally finds one of a euphonium, and she's ecstatic, and it's like a sign, and like she only had just mentioned that she spent some alone time with Taki Sensei, so now Kasaka's like, wait a minute, Kumiko, tell me what the hell was said there, And we leave the episode off pretty much with this great promise of, well, now we're going on to Kansai competition, and what is in store for these girls? What is in store for all of the people in the band? Are they going to achieve success? Are they going to falter? I mean, I'm championing them. I really want to see them achieve after everything they've all been through, and not just self-contained to the series, but as we've seen, calling back on the previous years and all the turmoil and trouble that began with the third years and the first years and the previous semester and all this kind of stuff. I mean, there's a long-standing history of failure, in a sense, and people not coming together. And I think for the first time through the course of this series, we're seeing so many people coming together, a unity with so many people, even to the point of Kasaka sort of manning up and confronting Yuko and Kaori and saying, look, I'm sorry I was such a smug bee at the competition where we had to basically both from scratch yet again, undoing everything we had accomplished. They both had to audition all over again, and she was just like, I'm sorry for being a jerk, and Kaori actually admits to also having a chip on her shoulder. She apologizes. Yuko's kind of left like blushing, and I like how Natsuki comes in there, starts ribbing her, and she chases her off and everything. Just a really well-rounded episode, all things considered, because it's the thorough fruition of the evolution of these characters. And so now on to the big grand finale of this competition, and with sort of nothing hanging in the breeze. Like, everything's been wrapped up for this final competition, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 12 of Hibike Euphonium, if you've seen it, and if you were as impressed as I was with Kumiko's just roundabout realization and appreciation for how far she's come and what really matters to her. Now she can put all her focus on the euphonium without any sort of regret or, any reservations and everything like that. So yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.